And welcome into this edition of ACAP Today for the first half of October 2023. I'm Jason Parent with Aroostook County Action Program. On this early October edition of ACAP Today, we're going to speak with three of our individuals helping to get people connected with energy services here and energy assistance services here in Aroostook County. There's a lot of confusion out there right now and a lot of talk and a lot of conflicting information in the media about just what the situation is coming into the heating season that we're all coming into. And we're going to get some clarification on some of that and learn about the process again this year for how you can connect with energy assistance here in Aroostook County. But before we get to that conversation, we're first going to get to the news and information that you can use again for the first half of October 2023. And we start with this story, something that we haven't talked about in a little bit here, and that's the Homeowner Assistance Fund. The Homeowner Assistance Fund is in its waning days. There's a few months left of program funding, but we're putting it out there to remind folks who might be struggling at this time as we head into the fall and winter months that we can provide program eligible homeowners up to $50,000 in benefits. Now, these can be used for a variety of expenses or past due bills for Maine homeowners. The program is for those who have owned their home since before January 21st, 2020, and who have experienced some financial hardship after January 1st of 2020. So the HAF program can provide assistance with things like your mortgage payment, homeowners insurance, property taxes, utilities, fuel accounts, and broadband internet service bills. We do encourage you to contact us if you're finding yourself struggling with your homeowner bills. And are in the income eligibility guidelines that are noted here on the screen here for households of various sizes. Again, you can call us at 764-3721 and ask about the Homeowner Assistance Fund, and we will help connect you with that program and see if you might be eligible or help you get an application started. The Workforce Development Program here at ACAP is wanting to say a special thank you to several employers across the region. These include nonprofit, local government entities, and for-profit entities that are taking on youth employment partners. These are programs offered for youth ages 16 through 24. There were a number of youth in summer programs that were enrolled throughout Aroostook County, but we still have some opportunities for youth to engage with these programs across Aroostook County. So thank you to those listed here on your screen. And if you're an employer out there who wants to connect with youth in the area and sort of test drive them to see if they have what it takes in your business, and you can be potentially building a future workforce or understanding what's out there in the future workforce. Or if you're a youth age 16 through 24 and might want to engage in a youth workforce development program to shadow or to work at a local business to help hone your skills, give us a call here at ACAP. We would be happy to connect with you and connect you with the right people to connect you with this program. Yes, indeed, we have been notified that beginning just at the end of September, every U.S. household can again place an order to receive 4 more free COVID-19 rapid tests that will be delivered directly to your home. If you want to first check if you have some in the household to see if your COVID-19 tests are expired before requesting new tests, covidtest.gov is the website that you go through. Over 755 million tests were directly delivered to 2/3 of American households in the previous round. And because of spikes in rates, they are reopening these free COVID test opportunities to have them mailed directly to your household. Again, covidtest.gov is the address. We are also reminding folks out there that we are on the cusp of about to begin our first school-age childcare classroom in many years in partnership with RSU 39 right inside the Caribou Community School. It will be offered all weekdays between 2:30 and 5:30 p.m. when school's in session, and during school breaks from 7 in the morning to 5:30 p.m. in the afternoon. It's specifically designated for 5 to 12-year-old school-age kids that attend the Caribou Community School. If you'd like to enroll or learn more about enrollment opportunities, you can contact us here at ACAP. Marcy Driscoll is the person to reach out to. She can be reached at 554-4175 or emailed at mdriscoll@acap-me.org. We also want to remind folks out there, if you're looking for something to do this winter, if you're looking to volunteer to help others in your community, the Aroostook Cash Coalition is looking for your help, and specifically us here at ACAP. We are looking for folks who would like to assist people with tax preparation for the coming season. Please reach out to us at info@acap-me.org or call 532-5371 and leave us your name. We gladly get back to you and tell you what it will entail. But we are looking for help with volunteer tax preparers, and we will train. We are also reminding folks that the Vitamin Angel programs, Healthy Families, Healthy Communities, is something that ACAP is offering. It's free prenatal vitamins that are available to households. Please give us a call at 764-3721 or email us at info@acap-me.org if you might be able to benefit or know someone who could benefit from free prenatal vitamins. And we're also reminding folks as well that we're an opportunity for you to connect with the World Wide Web through high-speed internet or internet that's available in your local community. Here at ACAP, we are helping people get connected. That FCC Affordable Connectivity Program is available directly through getinternet.gov or by calling 764-3721 and reaching us here at ACAP to be able to get that application started. It does give you a benefit off of your internet cost each month if you qualify, so we certainly encourage you to reach out to us for that. And if we haven't mentioned anything in this part of the broadcast and you are in need of assistance, we encourage you to reach out to us, 764-3721. We have navigators who can help connect you with services, both those here in the agency and those outside of the agency, to get connected with what you might need at this time, especially if your family is struggling. Again, 764-3721. And that's this week's or the early October news and information that you can use. I'm pleased to welcome to the program again 3 individuals who work with ACAP's energy assistance programs. Josh McAtee is the program coordinator who oversees both energy and housing programs for us here at ACAP. Becky Bell is the individual who manages the day-to-day operations of our energy team here at ACAP. And Priscilla Steves is one of our ACAP team members working to help connect you folks out there with energy services here in Aroostook County. So all 3 of you, welcome back to the broadcast. We've had you all on before, and it's very timely to have you on right now, just as folks are starting to tick up their thermostats here in Aroostook County. All right, so there's a lot of information out there, some of it conflicting right now about what is and what is not in terms of this year's heating season. So Becky, let's start with you and just sort of level setting us about energy programs at ACAP and how people can connect with us and what this season is like.
Well, we started our season July 17th, taking applications. We've been certifying right straight through. We're less than 30 days behind on applications. And you'll start seeing that money coming out towards the end of November. We don't know what the benefits are yet, but towards the end of November.
Well, let's just recap for people. If people are out there and saying, gosh, I might think that I want to apply for this year, but I'm not sure if I'm eligible. How do people go about doing that? And what are things that people need to consider? I'm going to bring up on the screen here our Home Energy Assistance Program flyer, if you will, which shows some of those income eligibility guidelines. And so how do people connect with you if they haven't been before customers of ACAP's energy programs?
Well, they can call us to schedule an appointment and then come in and see us. I mean, if you look at this schedule that you have on the screen, that will tell you what you can make monthly per the size of individual in your home, size number. And if you make over that, we can take some medical deductions to reduce your monthly income.
Great. Josh McAtee, as I noted in that introduction to Becky, there's a lot of information floating out there. So maybe we could start by having you level set with us about what's happening. We are hearing sort of conflicting things about energy assistance programs, and people might be a bit confused about the alphabet soup of programs that are out there and available. So let's start with that, and then we'll have you walk us through sort of a comparison with the home energy assistance program between last year and this year. So sort of help us clear up some of the confusion that might be happening out there.
Certainly. So there's both LIAP and LIHEAP, but the easiest way to remember them is LIHEAP is for heating assistance and LIAP is electrical assistance. So you can receive both as long as you're not in a subsidized housing and you have your electric in a household member's name. So we try to get every single applicant the LIAP credit, which is the electrical credit as well. So the electrical credit will be going up this year. That will be getting, about a 30% increase, while the heating credit will be going down a bit this year. So that's what the conflicting information is. So you may see that both the heating credit is going down and that this LIAP, which is really the electrical credit, is going up.
So LIAP electricity, and then LIHEAP, or HEAP as we call it here in Aroostook County Home Energy Assistance Program, is related to directly your heating of your home and heating, and in some states cooling of your home. All right, so now let's walk through so we can show people a comparison. And again, want to sort of give the warning ahead of time that this does not apply to every household, but we're using just sort of the law of averages here. So I'm going to bring this up on the screen and have you walk us through this, Josh.
Thank you. So on the left column of numbers, we have last year the average benefits for a household, and the average household was about 2.5 members. On the right, we see what we're expecting this year for each of those. Things are subject to change, but as of right now, we're expecting the average household to get about $720 of HEAP assistance, which is, for your pellets or your oil or your electricity or whatever you use to heat your home. Then on the second line, we have the Energy Crisis Intervention Program, or ACAP as we call it, which is for emergency situations, which starts on November 1st. Last year, that was an $800 or up to $800 credit, and this year is also still an up to $800 credit. And then once we get down here, we see the supplemental payments. So right around February last year, a supplemental payment was approved, and people got an additional benefit equal to what they had already got, which on average was $1,060. This year, we do not expect there to be a supplemental payment. At this time, there are no plans of that. So we want people to be prepared for that. And with the Winter Energy Relief Program, which came along with that supplement, it was for people who are over income for HEAP, but not by a huge margin. Last year, they could get $800, as you see in that second column. And this year, we do not expect that. That was the only time that we've ever had that program, and we're not expecting that to exist again. So you can see there's a big difference from that left to right column, and that's what we're talking about when HEAP is going to have, a reduced benefit for customers, but that electrical credit will go up 30%.
Now, it's important to know that this is what we know right now. We're recording this the last week of September. Things can always change. We work at the whim of federal and state government resources. The work program that you spoke about was a state program last year. And some of the supplemental payments also were state, but most oftentimes when we're talking about home energy assistance program and even the emergency crisis intervention program or energy crisis intervention program, we're talking about federal programs. And we often have lawmakers at the state level and the federal level that advocate for additional program dollars, but this is the best as we know it right now, correct, Josh?
Yes.
All right. So you did mention, and before I get to Priscilla, or I don't know if Priscilla wants to comment on this, you did mention Energy Crisis Intervention Program, ECIP funds. Emergency dollars. Would someone please talk about what things look like if you're out of fuel, you have no fuel left in your household, and you're in need of assistance at the moment? What does that look like for this coming season?
As of right now, ECIP will not start until November 1st. Hopefully we'll have the funds at that time. If you have already been certified for HEAP, we will be doing an upfront for you instead of the ECIP, just in case you need it at a later date. And if you are running out of fuel, it has to be less than a quarter of a tank. And sometimes we ask for verification of this. It's not that I really don't know what else to say. Becky, do you want to try and answer that question?
Sure. So with ECIP, we try to help the people with the, almost out of fuel, so a quarter of a tank or less. Sometimes we will have them send in pictures of their fuel gauge, just so that, if they've had a delivery fairly recently, We like to get that just to put in our file. And it will start November 1st. So if
Yeah,
you
it's
need
kind
some, call us.
It's kind of like what you're doing is you're functioning a bit like an emergency department and doing triage. And if somebody comes in cardiac arrest, that's, that you need to take care of that situation. And so, some of the information that you're requesting is necessary to make sure that you're preventing people from completely running out of fuel and from their systems seizing up. Priscilla, talk about the expectations for folks this year. So if I was, applied, because we have been scheduling appointments at this point since July, when can I expect to receive my fuel? And if I'm just calling you today, what does that process look like?
Okay, well, if we have already certified you, again, we are thinking the funds will be available starting sometime in November. So that's when we will be able to help you. We can do an upfront starting November 1st if you need the fuel. And if you were to call today and do your application today, as soon as you get all of your proof in, we would be able to certify it. Although we are doing, we are ahead of schedule as far as I can tell, well, we're about 30 days behind, which is a lot better than what we were last year. So a lot more people have been certified this year, and a lot more people will have their benefits come November.
Yeah, that's something important to note, Josh and Becky, that that initial payment. So folks, sometimes it's a head scratcher. Gosh, I had my appointment in late July and I still haven't received my fuel benefit. It's not really something we here at ACAP have control over. We have control over the process. And what Priscilla's indicating is that we've certified you unless we've been in contact with you and say you have some missing documents. We've determined whether you're eligible or not, but getting the fuel money on your fuel vendor account is a different story, correct?
Yeah, so to touch on that, like we're actually doing really great in certification right now. So we're like right on target. So if you come in tomorrow for an appointment and you bring all your documents, you'll be certified within 2 to 4 weeks, right? As we know, the money isn't ready yet. That money from the federal government goes to the state in November, and then we see it shortly after, and we give it to everyone who's certified as soon as we can. This year, they are looking to try to give us the money a little bit earlier than they did last year, but that is still up in the air. So like I said, at least by mid-November, we expect to have those funds ready for everyone who has already been certified. Currently, we've already certified over 1,400 applications, so that's huge. That helps a lot of people out, and we still have another month and a half to go until we actually get to when the money does come in. If you call today for an appointment, our earliest openings for returning customers, which all should already have been booked, and if you have not been booked, please give us a call for an appointment, is January. Now, for first-time customers, we do have a different schedule, and that currently is in December. Not a huge difference, as we do have about 7,000 returning customers this year, so there's a lot of people to help, and we get everyone in as fast as we can.
And Becky, if somebody calls ACAP for fuel assistance, your team is going to sort of help determine what the best avenue to get that assistance to them is. So we're talking about these federal programs, and to every extent possible, if you can get folks qualified for those programs, it's a benefit to them, correct?
Yes. If you come in, if you call us and you need fuel, if you have not put in an application in, we'll do an appointment over the phone if needed, or you can come in, we'll get that appointment done. And if you have your proof, we'll get it certified as soon as possible. If you come in, if you can't come in and get your appointment done, we do have other avenues where we can help you with a one-time donation if you haven't had any donation within a year's time. So we could do that as well.
And Josh, I know that folks sometimes, at least in the dealings with your staff, make an assumption that they might not qualify, and then they call in an emergency and think that it's going to be through the donor dollars. But in the end, oftentimes when you sort of dig a little deeper, it's potential that they qualify, and you certainly do that process, correct?
Yes, and we do our best. Like when someone calls in any circumstance, we try to screen all the options that are available to them and give them, the best one for them at that time. So if they're in an emergency situation and we're not able to do ESIP and we have to do a donation, then we'll do that. And then we'll, try to see a little bit of additional information to see if they could qualify and get a benefit later down the road when that initial donation runs out.
And as you're saying that, I think it's important that we note to people that this home energy assistance program was never intended to cover 100% of a person's heating season, was it?
Correct. And we've been very fortunate the last 2 years. We've expanded the program. We've gone from about 4,500 customers to 7,000. So a lot of people only know in these last 2 years, us being able to provide almost 100% of their heating burden, which we were happy to do, but that doesn't last forever. A lot of those dollars are going to other programs and other things. So, it is a supplemental program. That's what it was before COVID, and that's what we're returning to now.
Good. Very important to know, because I think, we don't want to set up false expectations for folks. And you are right, Josh, a number of new customers don't know perhaps differently, but that's sort of the era that we're returning to as we look ahead to this season. What haven't we talked about that we want help folks be certain that they understand, because we are getting into that time period where people, understandably so, if you're cold and you're in your home and you're fearful that you're going to run out of fuel, it really does cause folks to panic in some cases. And we want to make sure that we arm them with as much information as possible of how we can best help them in any way that we can. But to be sort of thoughtful about what they need to know and what information they need to have to be able to best engage with us. What else do we need to let people know?
It is very, very important to get your documents in. We cannot certify you without the proper documents. If we should happen to call you and say, hey, if you can get this document into me by Friday, I can get you certified. This way you can get fuel, but we've got to have that document. There's no way around that.
Let's give folks an idea of what we're talking about when we talk about those documents, so they can sort of be thinking about that as if they're looking to make their first appointment and be thinking about what they need to collect.
They will need to bring in if they are a first-time applicant, we will need their ID, their social security cards, or even a W-2 if it has the whole number on it, the whole 9 digits. We would also need like your social security benefit letter, your SNAP letter, your TANF letter, any wages for a month, and your utility bill. It's not a lot of information that we need. It's just we can't do anything without it. Did I miss anything, Becky?
I don't think so. But please call us if you're getting low. Call us and we'll see what we could do to help you.
If you rent, I think you need, I don't know if you mentioned this, Priscilla, if you rent, you need your landlord's sign.
You'll need your landlord information if you are a renter, phone number, address, name, and that way we can fill the application out, fully.
Yeah, a few other documents just for different circumstances. If you are subsidized, we will need either your yearly recertification or a subsidized housing form. We'll have you sign, and we'll send that over to your housing unit for them to send back to us. Additionally, if you are self-employed, we will need a copy of your signed tax from last year taxes. It is important for it to be signed or to have the e-signature page. A lot of people bring in an unsigned one and we end up having to call them back in, and we don't like to do that. So please, if you are in that situation, if you don't actually file your taxes, there's another form you can fill out aside from that. If you have any children in the home that do not belong to both parents, we would have a minor child form just to keep track of child support. And I believe that's a majority of those one-off forms for people in certain situations.
Josh, you mentioned children, and I think I just want to take a moment to let you say that, talk about how folks, especially families with children, might experience a different opportunity with ACAP as they connect with us this season when they come in for a home energy assistance program appointment, or whether it be a WIC appointment or the like. I know you've been one of the chief architects of our comprehensive intake plan, and I just want to give you a moment to help set up what those expectations might be like for folks and what the opportunity might be like for them.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people have already received their letter asking them to come in, or a phone call asking them to come in a little bit earlier. So what we're doing is we're having people come in and talk to someone who can kind of take a deeper breath of the needs that they have in their family. So if you have a child under 5, you could have access to WIC. If you have somebody who's underemployed or unemployed, we could get you enrolled in our workforce program. There's also many other programs such as, SNAP or insurance that we can help do applications with for you. Early childhood. There's just so many different things that we do, and we're taking more of an emphasis right now on children with families and working age adults to be able to really help them as much as possible when they come in for their HEAP appointment, so that they don't have to come back another day or when things get worse down the road.
And certainly as we're looking at the reduction in benefits this year for the HEAP program, the ability to be connected with multiple services and multiple programs, more important than it certainly has been even in the last couple of years. So yes, thank you very much for your work on that. Thank you all three for your diligent work connecting people with this much needed resource here in Aroostook County. We have some pretty cold winters, and I know that you're all worried about folks getting through this particular season, but thank you for working each day to improve those processes so that we can triage the emergencies and get the assistance to folks as they need it. And I know that being on the front lines of that isn't easy sometimes, especially when folks call in stressful situations. So thank you for being on that front line battle with folks and helping and being their partners and helping to find some relief of that burden. So thank you very much. Anything else before we go, or before we show the snapshot of this early month? All right, well, thank you again. Before we let you go, let's share with you our highlight snapshot for the first half of October. These are two of our ACAP team members, Anthony No, an ACAP navigator, and Teresa Dow, an ACAP program coordinator, who recently attended the Aroostook Agency on Aging's document shredding and drug take-back event held recently. They were on hand to pass out information about ACAP services, at-home safe medication disposal, and doTERRA safe medication disposal bags, which we offer here at ACAP in partnership with others as well. So thank you to Anthony and Teresa, and thank you to our team of folks. There's going to be folks from the HEAP team and others out at a bevy of community activities that happen this time of year, from flu shot clinics and health fairs to other activities in the community. We have quite a team out there in the coming weeks connecting with folks and meeting people where they're at, and we appreciate that additional outreach, as most of it often happens on evenings and weekends. So we thank our team members for the time that they take away from their families and their homes to connect with customers and meet them where they're at. That's this week's edition of ACAP Today. If you have any questions about anything you've heard on this broadcast or any of the services that we provide, specifically questions about your heating assistance this year or getting into the home energy assistance program, please don't hesitate to give us a call. We'd appreciate hearing from you. Have a great rest of the month of October, folks. We'll see you back in a couple of weeks with a brand new edition of ACAP Today. Until then, have a good one. Thanks.
Thank you.